got it.
Jeremy, can I help?
Yes, come on. We've got 2 bodies on here.
Mom, I think you best
Careful,
not...
Mrs. Poldark.
Bella, you stop here. Clarence! Go fetch Dr. Ennis. We'll meet him back at the house.
A letter for you, Captain Poldark.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
My dear Ross, every day without you here gets longer. It seems you're so far away from us in London. We have a stranger here, a young man. Jeremy found him on a raft and brought him in. Ross, the boy seemed dead as the friend they'd found him with. What happened to their vessel, we don't know. The seas can be cruel, that is known. Jeremy says they'd been holding each other, out there on the water, the dead and the living, for days. The one we gave some ground to in the churchyard. The other we thought we'd have to. We sent for Dr. Ennis, who came promptly, as he does so much now, Ross, for the sick and the hungry. Bella ran all the way with us. She's growing every day, Ross.
Careful, man.
My dear Demelza, you're wet through.
Less than he.
Indeed, but I shouldn't want you ill.
Go on up. Cowards!
You'll need feeding at least to live.
We all need feeding to live, Jane.
You must be kept warm. Jane, can you bring more blankets?
We cleared his lungs, sir.
Good. I think the angels half have him. We must persuade them. Ladies? And yet he's a fighting man.
Aye. And a rogue as plain as day.
And boys, hold him down if you can. It'll be sore for a while, but usable if he lives. Pray that he will, Jane. I know God listens to you.
Well, someone's the sense to.
You could see, Ross, how difficult it's become here. There's real hunger now in the village and no custom for the mine. Jeremy's worked some of the old shafts as best he can. I don't know what we're to do. We'll see deaths here if the war doesn't end, and people are saying you favour it and speak for it. Ross, think of us. If there's anything you can say to Westminster to bring peace, but say it and come home.
Ross!
My dear Ross Poldark. Mr. Canning, The town is abuzz about you, Captain. I sent you to gather some information, and you couldn't but garner a French life or two in the process.
I was hoping not to be garnered myself.
I didn't expect you to fight.
We've mined down Will Grace as far as we can. I even opened one of the old shafts, somewhat deeper than safe.
Jeremy, you shouldn't.
We have little choice, Mother.
And the ore?
Still weak. Hardly worth bringing out.
Where else can we cut?
Well, there's nowhere left in Will Grace without a more advanced steam engine. And there aren't the prospects to justify that. It's finished, Mother.
I've written to your father of this.
What can he say?
We must ask him. We must ask him. It's not the mine, Jeremy. It's not just the mine. It's the village we have to consider. And the family.
Of course.
Well, for all these years, the Poldarks, we've always worked the mines here.
Father would only say what I'm saying. If he were here.
But he's not here. Good day to you, Mr. Cravenson.
It is indeed, ma'am.
I believe Mr. Cravenson comes from Lancaster, Mother.
Well, that's a fine city, as I've heard.
And he has a fine house there.
Fine, perhaps. Not so lovely as here.
What is your business in Lancaster?
Shipping. The trade of the seas, Mrs. Poldark.
What brought you half-drowned to this beach, then?
Master Poldark, I believe. And his mother. And you, so they tell me. For which I'm grateful. My vessel was bound for Cork. With flax I was trading, but unequal to the storm we met. A wave dismasted us, so we put to in lifeboats. One of these turned over and all were lost from that. The mate, and myself, and a sailor. We kept a vigil on the waves. The mate was dead in a day. And the other... well, he took longer.
I'm sorry for your friend. You may rest here and ask for all that you wish.
I'm obliged.
Clarence? I'm sure Mr. Cravenson wishes to rest.
Perhaps we should ask what he wishes.
You have these flowers to set. You do it so well. Before they dry, Clarence.
It's bad news on the king, I'm afraid. There's talk of poisons and devils and all sorts of Hippocratic whatnot. But he's mad for good, and that's a fact.
Is it known?
Not officially, not yet.
But it's an end to the Tory government.
I fear it might be. Our prince in the wings declares himself ever louder to be a Whig and despiser of Tories. Warlegan. He's of the opposite persuasion to us. A Whig and a peacemaker. And no doubt with an eye on his prospects. But you know him, of course.
George? Yes. A Cornishman. Though we shouldn't remind him of that here.
Sir George now, I'm afraid. For services, I dare say, to the crowns in his pocket. I would sometimes the king's hand were as unsteady as his mind.
I'm expected home, Mr. Canning.
Of course. A little more. First you'll report to Parliament.
And then?
The Regency Bill. If we can vote it out, we delay the ascension of that prized buffoon, retain the king's ministers, and proceed with the war to victory.
Yes?
I thought you'd like some ale, Mr. Cravenson.
I would. Thank you, Miss Clowens. For saving my life.
You've my brother to thank. It's good ale, Mr. Cravenson. Mother commends it to you.
Well, my thanks to her.
Just fool's gold. Strains of copper, a little tin.
Have we enough to hold on? At least till there's news on the war.
And when's that to be, Mother?
There's more people calling for peace now, Jeremy.
I wish some of those closer to us were.
Perhaps if they could see.
I think it a question of principle, Mother.
Your father is Principal Jeremy, you know that.
Yes, and we're all proud of him, aren't we?
It is not wise to speak ill of him, Jeremy, to others, however we feel.
Then perhaps it were best to feel nothing.
Still here, Poldark? I would have thought you'd hurry home.
There is the vote.
Ah, yes. The vote.
I understand you've been knighted. Then I should bow more deeply to you, sir.
No need, Russ. Are we not countrymen, after all?
I saw one of our countrymen among the British lines, known to us both. Your stepson, Sir George. A captain now, by the name of Geoffrey Charles. Wishes you well. And asked after Trenwith, his inheritance. I informed him that you keep it for him in decay.
It is less than it was.
It was a fine house when your late wife was mistress of it. He said it a pity that...
There is much to pity these days, Poldark, and the more for each day of this war. I would trust your report to the gentleman of the house accounts for that when you give it.
Oh, there is much to be accounted for, Sir George.
Indeed. There is.
Good day, Sir George. Gentlemen.
My dearest Demelza, thank you for your letter. And please know that I would be with you if I could. It seems my duty to the nation requires me to spend more time in the company of those who serve little but themselves. Of the mind, Demelza, I fear there is little more that we can do for those that live off it.
He's from London. I thought you'd be pleased.
I'll be pleased when he comes home.
Mother?
I'll speak to the men.
His duties? What about us, Mother? Has he no duties here?
Perhaps the nation counts for more in his mind.
What nation, when everything's closed and the people ruined?
Oh, Jeremy. Your father, he is principled. And he is strong. He'll speak what he believes in, and we should believe in that. He'll fight sometimes when he feels he's right against everyone. We just have to cope, that's all, till he comes home.
I'll speak to the men. It isn't fair they should blame you for this.
And we'll speak together. And we'll speak for Ross. And they can blame whom they like.
He's a fine beast. You ride him well.
Thank you.
I've seen you. Down on the beach. Like the wind. It's a wonder he don't stumble.
He won't. And you, Mr. Cravenson, are you well now and taking the air?
Taking the air. Indeed, ma'am. I'm taking the air. Where are you riding him?
To Real Grace. Bear in mind, it's a good path.
Would you be liking some company?
I have company, as you noticed.
I could fancy a walk myself.
It isn't far, Mr. Cravenson.
This is splendid, Ross. I shall send it to the Prince. And I should like you to speak with him. He is willing to give audience. Simply tell him what you saw. And be courteous.
I shall be civil enough.
We have no choice in the matter. The mine's finished.
So where's Poldark then? Why ain't he telling them to stop this war?
My father's in London now.
Yeah, I've heard. British glory and bugger us.
I'm sure my husband is acting in Westminster according to his conscience.
Acting for his own pocket. Same as all of them.
You should take that back. You remarked to the lady. I said you shall take that back.
Oh, yeah. And what's heard of you? You've been staying there, as I've heard.
Captain Poldark stands up for the honour of this country, such as it is with the likes of you in it. And so should all of you.
There's always prizes for plunderers, eh?
It's Clarence. You're a Brit you don't see.
Listen to me! We can't dig what isn't there!
Wait till Ross gets back. He'll sort it all out, I promise.
Yeah, he's got a test for London now. He ain't...
We don't want to be fighting each other.
You heard what she said. What are you gonna do? Riot? Now be off with you, before I said about you. Be off. Yes,
don't need your trouble in this village, Mr. Cravenson.
I thought to be of help, Mr. Carter.
It was none of your concern.
True. It's none of my concern, Mr. Carter.
But you can tell me this. How your boat failed in a storm that never took place? There's been no storm out there for weeks.
A strong wind and a bad boat. We all make mistakes. Perhaps you're making one now.
Ben, he spoke for my father. He doesn't know your father.
I know his son, that's enough for me.
The man's a liar.
And maybe you speak more than you should.
Ben speaks his mind, Mr. Cravenson, as I hope we all do. As you can see, affairs are not happy here.
I can see. And I'm sorry for that. Your family's been kind to me, Mr. Poldark. And you, Mr. Carter. If I can help, next time, it'll be to less trouble.
There used to be a Poldark mine. We leisure. We got some good copper from it. Then George Warlegan got it and closed it to keep the price on it. And he put it about the she's barrel.
But you think it's got more?
There's a few lines run up here. Not much, but they suggest the load line south of the head.
Could you buy it back?
Warlegan wouldn't sell to the Poldark, Steve. But if he did, he would lose a hole in the ground and we could get the village working again.
So, tell me of this young fellow. Fished from the sea, I believe. Not a bad catch, I think.
Well, he's much improved.
But I shouldn't let Clarence have too much to do with him. A young man like that can affect a girl of her age. He certainly affects me. It's a wonder you can be thinking of mining with a young man like that.
Oh, I'd not considered his attributes, Caroline. For shame.
Oh, for shame. You should deny me a little teasing.
Recently, Master, they keep on dropping off them trees no sooner you pick them up.
I can smell the house from here. Have we had rats?
Aye, but we've been at 'em.
I would have thought you'd both be better dressed on the anniversary of my wife's death.
How did you find me?
I was looking for my brother.
Took the boat. Fishing, I guess.
You don't say much, do you?
You're much like your mother, Miss Clowens.
I shouldn't think that at all. Everyone says we have quite different faces. And our eyes. Why ours are
No,
much...
I mean, the way you are. You've got a grace, and she's beautiful, but seems unaware of it. She don't know what stops a man speaking when he looks at her. She's much admired. And so are you. I noticed that young, Ben Carter. He's a nice lad. Means something to you, does he?
I'm not sure why you ask.
Well, perhaps it's none of my business.
Perhaps it is.
Perhaps.
I was just on my way to Trenwith.
What's that?
Quiet place.
I thought you were looking for Jeremy.
I was riding, as I often do. As you know, Mr. Cravenson. And I simply happened to notice you.
Sharp-eyed, Miss Clowens.
I'll show you the gardens. Nothing so interesting as water, of course.
Which way?
Up here. I'm used to horses, Mr. Cravenson.
Well, you don't get many at sea.
I expect it's the caretaker. There's two of them. They won't mind me, but they might not be so kind to you.
Well, I might be kind to them. And you. There's something I should tell you.
Are you married?
No.
But you have admirers.
Plenty. None I admire so much. But some I did. You know?
I don't.
I told Mrs. Poldark the ship we lost was mine. It's not so. I just worked on it. I don't own boats. And there wasn't a storm.
And you didn't mention this to look better in my mother's opinion.
It don't look so good now. But I don't want to be lying to you. And I don't want no secrets.
I'm not sure. I don't think we should be here. I'm sorry.
Clarence,
Please,
I didn't think... It wasn't my intention to.
I'd like to be alone.
We'll be alone then, Miss Clarence. You be alone.
I'm sorry. I saw the door open and I didn't...
What do you want?
Nothing, I should get some water.
No, there's no need.
I'll die if
There's no need. Who are you?
Clarence. Poldark. I come here sometimes. To put flowers here.
Just... get out!
I'm sorry if I...
Get out! Get out!
I believe she's taken Nero to the beach.
Indeed. I've seen her there.
I take it you're feeling much improved.
Much improved, Mrs. Poldark. Thanks to you. And your family.
I just wondered if you don't think it discourteous to ask how long you intended staying here.
How long am I welcome?
I didn't realize you were so taken with this part of Cornwall, Mr. Cravenson.
Well, there's much to be taken with here.
I'll ask Jeremy to speak to the taverner for you. They have rooms there. The clothes of my husband's you've been using, of course you're welcome to keep.
Well, I thank you, ma'am. And couldn't refuse what's good enough for your husband. We'll meet again. I'm sure.
I'm glad of it, Mr. Cravenson.
I think, ma'am, perhaps you are.
I'll expect to change the room today, then.
I took Nero along the coast.
I wasn't asking.
Where's Stephen?
He's gone.
Gone?
He took the clothes we'd given him, didn't he, and went off.
Where?
Wherever he came from, I suppose.
Clarence. Clarence!
Sir George! Glad you could make it. Shame you missed the morning ride.
It is. I was a little delayed.
We've got a ride for you. A fine grey. I'm sure you'll enjoy her.
I'm obliged.
I don't believe we've,
George. Sir George Warlegan.
A local?
A Cornishman from London.
And what is it that you do in London? Do you represent?
I represent Lord Devereux.
Lady Harriet? And are you of a war persuasion or a peace persuasion, Sir George?
A sensible persuasion, Lady Harriet.
Then we must talk further.
Indeed. I would be...
Oh, don't say enchanted. I've never seen a man enchanted in my life.
Sir George!
Excuse me.
She's a proud mare, but a fine flank, eh?
Indeed. I shall enjoy riding her.
It was not the horse that I referred to. Of course, if you are interested in further pursuance, there's always a sale, by auction, of various properties belonging to her. Very sad. Husband gambled everything. She'll miss the horse most. Dundee, it's called. I understand it holds some particular memories for her. Her brother, the Duke of Leeds. Lady Harriet is honorable and widowed and penniless. Mount up.
Violet Kello, Paul's sister. She works at the tavern.
I'll meet her then. I reckon we all need gold round here, Jeremy. I know where some's waiting. For the picking. Gold that's mine, Jeremy. There'd be some for you if you'd be willing to a little adventure.
By gold, what do you mean, Steve?
I mean a boat. Moored at St. Mary's.
I understood your vessel was sunk.
What it was. But we managed to get a lugger to shore. 2 for picking it up, and 1 for taking yours back.
Does it belong to you, Stephen?
Belongs to no one. The captain died and he owned it. I can't see as he needs it now, we don't need air.
George.
Indeed, madam.
I fear we've lost our quarry this time.
Perhaps.
Perhaps not.
I'll break your bones. You come here.
Warlegan's men. They've got an order. It says we can't use the land for the fair. Oh, for nothing.
Whoa! Touch me, and you'll hang.
You leave him be!
I've got a warrant. Warlegan wants it cleared. This is his property now. This land is for farming purposes, not open to public right of anything. I got the papers here. Now you keep out of this. It's none of your business. later.
Boy, we haven't finished yet. You haven't been paying your rents. War-legging will have you at your houses too.
Thank you, miss.
You left us then? For any reason?
It was time to go, Miss Clarence.
Go where?
I'm a sailor, Miss Clarence. I don't stay long. Nowhere. Hadn't you figured that? So what about it, Jeremy? I get my boat and I get out. That'll be good for all, eh? I took you for brave, Master Poldark.
I have responsibilities. What are the risks?
Only the seas, which you know well enough.
Captain Poldark. Your Royal Highness. I've read your report. Execrable writing. I take it you're more of an orator.
Hardly, sir.
Well, a man of action, then, by all accounts.
By some accounts, my lord.
We have something in common, then. Apart from our love of the people, God bless them. Men of action. The difference is that you are active, and I am cocooned like a prize silkworm. But I was young, you know, when this interminable war started. Young. And I watched the young men striding off to fight and die, and I saw myself sometimes riding ahead of them. The smell of smoke in my face, the cries of war in my ears. Riding into battle.
It's a fine feeling, sir.
I'm envied everything, Captain. I'm here to be envied. But I envy you. I have advisors to Bern. Why did Canning send you to Portugal?
He felt, my lord, that an independent opinion...
No one's independent but a fool. Are you a fool, Poldark? Perhaps you are. Then I should be wary of you and your opinions.
When you have heard them, sir.
Well, I've suffered your writings. I should suffer your oratory too, I suppose. Speak.
Now, you wanted to see me about a proposition.
George! George! What are you doing?
Buying?
Buying what?
Buying what's buyable, Uncle. Mills, factories, workshops, brick dust and bankruptcy.
Have you gone out of your brains?
In them, Gary. Very much in them, if nobody else is. When the prince becomes regent, the war consigned to the follies of history and trade resumes. Brick dust will be gold dust, and bankruptcy wealth beyond measure.
I saw youths Plucked from our mills here, dressed in a little soldier's cloth, fighting 2, 3 Frenchmen, single-handed, and with a ferocity that drained the blood from our enemies' faces before we drained it from their guts. Sir! I have given my report.
Which I found most restful, thank you. I understand this General Wellington fled the field again at Busaco.
A tactical retreat, sir.
Britons do not retreat.
Except as a nation, sir?
Do not grow insolent in my indulgence of you, Poldark.
Then perhaps we should accept the inevitable. And bow our knee to the tyrant.
My best advisors tell me this.
If they are accustomed to bowing, sir.
Indeed, sir.
There are those I hold dear in my beloved Cornwall that should eat again. Work again. There is indeed much to be said for surrender.
Tactical retreat, Captain Poldark. You know something of military matters.
I have said what I had to say. The destiny of our nation is with your Royal Highness.
And with Wellington, is it not?
Where he leads, men follow.
To where does he lead?
To victory.
You're sure of that? An adventurer. Such as I might have been.
I expect we're all rather tired of death to the French. To the king, then, whoever he happens to think he is at the moment.
The king.
I'm intended to sail over to the Scillies with Stephen Cravenson. I can't see harm in that.
I think you should be careful how far you travel with Mr. Cravenson. We know little of his background, and what we do know, well, I'm not entirely sure I like.
Should we be down for background now, Mother?
And Clarence, Dr. Ennis and I have been invited to a society ball in London. We thought you might like to join us.
You'll have an opportunity to meet people.
And we'd be glad of a travelling companion.
Well, I think it's a very good idea, Clarence.
Thank you, Jane. I think you must go, Clarence.
That's the one!
It's French.
It was French.
You privateered it?
I did.
I thought you said it was your boat.
I said it was nobody's boat. We chased her and brought her in here. Came out the bay and 2 gunships came after us.
They owed us enough to see us down. But we gave them a few walls too. Sent them home. Anyhow, it's not the boat. It's the cargo.
Do you think she's sound?
Sound enough.
Brandy. French brandy.
You getting there?
There's an excise house in Nevergissey. They'd pay us well for this.
True.
Stephen?
But not well enough, Jeremy.
I could sell it for double on the coast.
And we could hand for it.
Being poor is angerable these days. That's the way it is.
Are you ready, my dear? Your carriage is waiting.
Sir George Warlegan.
Oh, and what does he want?
He's bought my horse at the auction. And he wants to make a gift of it to me. But what he wants isn't stated.
I see.
I shall refuse it, of course.
Rather fond of it, aren't you, Harriet?
Yes.
And of him?
I think that remains to be seen.
It's a letter.
So it would seem, Uncle Carey.
For you. It smells.
I believe they call it perfumed, Uncle.
It's a woman, isn't it?
Said it was your boat.
I said it was.
I didn't know you privateered it. I didn't know there was brandy aboard. I didn't think she would start sinking on us.
So we'll fix it.
Just as soon as I found somebody with a knife for profit.
Stephen.
Come on.
slow, you make a run. Go on.
I can't!
Go!
You must be some kind of a slug or snail.
No, Mum.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening, miss.
Have you come to raid our vegetables?
No, we're gaugers, ma'am. We're about looking for a couple of smugglers.
I certainly haven't seen anyone.
Well, he's dangerous. Maybe, if we had a look.
I assure you, I haven't seen anyone.
All right. Thank you, miss.
Are you a smuggler?
No. Well...
Well. What is your name?
Jeremy Poldark.
And where are your friends, Jeremy Poldark?
Oh, he was injured. We separated. We had a lugger, but it was taken in water.
I did see a lugger, sailing rather badly. Would that be it? Obviously not that injured. So, what are we to do with you now? And I think my help deserves something. Don't you?
Miss?
Miss Cuby. A kiss? It's not every day I meet a rogue.
Lady Harriet.
My benefactor.
Lady, if you would allow it.
I accept the horse, Sir George, and thank you for it. But the money I sent you acknowledges that which is most fine about the gift.
I understand the horse meant a great deal to you.
Indeed. He broke my husband's neck.
He's a fine hunter.
Well bred. But then, mixing livestock is an art, is it not?
Clarence Poldark, Lord Edward Fitzmaurice.
My lady. Clarence. That is a pretty name, but unusual.
It's a Cornish name, sir.
Indeed, as Poldark is.
Do you know of us?
I've met your father. Of course, I know of him. He's much respected. And how do you like London, Miss Poldark?
Very fine, what I've seen of it.
Could you tolerate a life here as we have to?
I think I'd miss Cornwall. I'd miss the sea, Lord Edward. I do love to swim.
How does a lady swim in the sea?
In the sea, there's little choice but to swim.
It is a rather beautiful part of the world they live in, Lord Edward. You should visit it sometime.
Indeed. I now think there is much to visit. Miss Clarence, I wonder if I might ask you the pleasure of this dance.
Thank you.
I shouldn't smile so much. It scars me.
Oh, it all scars us, Mom. But you still look a picture. You do.
Oh, I've weathered well for a miner's daughter. So, this is how it must be when the children have gone. Husband's away and we sit here.
You married the man. You knew what he's like.
I married the man. Not a sweet word in the post.
I'm expecting to make an announcement tonight.
Yes, I thought I should be.
Captain Poldark?
Clarence? It is Clarence!
Oh, Papa!
It's astonishing. And you look... Well, who persuaded you to come here tonight?
What persuasion would I need?
Well, the last time I saw you, you were in bare feet, happy to scamper about on a beach.
And the next time too, I should think.
Lords, ladies, and gentlemen, your attention. Your attention, please. We have word from Westminster, conveyed by my two honourable friends, the Prince of Wales, God save him, has become regent. The details, lords and ladies. The Whigs are denied office. The Prince has decided to retain the Tory government. And the war goes on.
Were you hoping for office, Sir George?
No, I have my principal interests in commerce.
So it matters little to you?
Little enough. Lady Harriet, I must attend to some urgent matters.
And I shall be unattended.
I'm sorry for that. Excuse me.
Jeremy, what happened at the Sillies?
Stephen obtained his boat as he wished. He took it, he left.
Something disappoints you. He was a man of some charm, Jeremy. He lives more by his wits than his conscience.
Perhaps he has to. I met someone. A young lady.
Who is she? Do I know of her family?
QB. Trevandion.
Well, they're powerful people, Jeremy.
And we're not.
They might have their views on what we are.
I was thinking to visit her.
Perhaps you'll convey our invitation to her to visit us. I think you're taken with her.
I feel some liking of her.
If it helps, Jeremy, you're not the first to feel this. Though you might think you're the only one. I've known it too.
£6,000. 6,000. That's in 3 days we've lost.
A loss of confidence, that's all.
Banks are built on confidence. To run.
A slight drain. We shall be sound, Carey, if we continue as normal.
Normal? You're not normal. What happened? You got the smell of a filly in you, didn't you? Yeah. And you closed your eyes, imagined her naked, and figured the cost, eh? And you went, enough! Ruined us for some perfumed petticoat.
Don't speak of her. Don't even speak, Uncle Carey. You befoul everything with your filthy mouth. I demand silence from you!
Good afternoon, Miss Scooby.
Good afternoon, sir.
I've just spoken with your brother. He tells me you cannot receive visitors today since you are in Truro. I trust you find it a pleasant place.
Have you come here to tease me, Mr. Poldark?
I did not come to tease you.
Then why?
You know why.
I fear I don't. You shall have to tell me.
He led me to believe that I would be...
You believe what you want to believe. I said nothing to that effect.
You kissed me.
I cannot recall.
QB. If there is something, if I've done something, in my family it is always considered better to be forthright.
Your family is respected. your father admired. But you have too little of the land and even less of a line. Jeremy, I have to do what I am told. And I'm told you are nothing to me. So you are nothing to me.
QB. I just want to be with you.
I'm so sorry that you do.
Jane!
Greetings, ladies.
Welcome back, Clarence.
Dwight. It's so good of you. It's home.
It's just the same.
Get these things inside. Jeremy's out at present, Captain, but I think we'll manage.
We missed you.
I've missed you. My beautiful Bella.
And is the war to continue, Father?
It would seem so, Jeremy. Hard as it may be. And I'm sorry for it.
That you stood for it?
That it needs to be. But if the war ends, it doesn't mean that poverty will. Tell me of the mine, Jeremy.
Very weak. We tried to extend the 60-fathom level, but found nothing of any value.
It's unsafe.
I took the risk.
Alone?
With Ben Carter.
Jeremy, then you were reckless with his life. And that is not done. We can only be courageous for ourselves.
Unless it be war.
I spoke of mines.
Father, I had to do something.
And we shall. We must look to our other financial interests.
We've always mined.
What happened to the young man you wrote of?
Stephen Cravenson.
Jeremy had quite an adventure with him.
Would you excuse me, please? I'm rather tired.
Yes, of course.
night.
Father, Mother, I'm also a little tired. I wonder if I...
Oh, as you wish.
Good night, Jeremy. It's good to see you. We'll talk tomorrow.
Yes. Sir.
Our children have grown forthright in my absence.
They've learned to govern in your absence, Ross.
I think Clarence is a little taken with the young man. His name is Lord Edward Fitzmaurice. She should see him if he requests it.
She may not wish to. Oh, Ross. It is neither war nor Westminster here. He's needed his father, Russ. So have I.
You have me now.
I used to wonder, while you were away, how I'd feel when I saw you. If I'd feel the way I always feel when I see you.
You didn't say much.
We shouldn't have to. The candle's dying.
Good. I shall mourn it tomorrow. I've always thought that whatever else lets us down, the land won't. That our riches came from there, from what we made of it. And I suppose a little sentimentally, I've always thought that because I love this land, it would always love me.
It felt like killing something when we closed the mine.
Jeremy, I heard something about a young lady. A Trevanion? QB Trevanion, isn't it? I met her once, though she was very young then. I was in the same boat once. Perhaps I should call it a shipwreck. I loved and lost, but I found
someone better.
What happened?
It seems we're not good enough. Poldarks, you know, we're not connected, we're not capital.
Never be ashamed of who you are, Jeremy. And give me courage, honesty, and a clear soul over lineage every time. But if you want to know what the Trevanians want, Jeremy, it's money. They'd have you in church by tomorrow if your pockets jingle.
Well, I think we ought to reply to Lord Edward.
I think he shall come if I will or no. This one's all right. With a few ribbons, it would do for the fair anyway.
And do you? Or do you wish him to visit?
If he's travelling to Cornwall anyway, I shan't object. I've never met someone so charming, Mother. It's not that he's Lord Edward. It isn't. He's sweet.
Stevens.
Yes, I think so. I dare say it makes some old rags.
Could you be Lady Clarence?
And everyone awkward before me. I should be most gracious. Mother, I think you shall like him. And he shall like you.
I understand Sir George Warlegan is in financial difficulties. Dr. Enders was saying.
I don't think Sir George would sell real leisure.
Ben thinks the ore to be further down. If we sunk a shaft southwards...
Flooded.
Not heavily.
It can't be drained.
We could pump it.
To build a steam pump strong enough would be a huge expense.
We could build one ourselves, Father.
Even Trevithick, who knows more about steam than anyone, burned 3 people in London.
That was years ago. It will be costly to build an engine, Father, but it won't cost lives, I promise you.
If you need money to win a lady, Jeremy, you should perhaps think of some other way.
It's not about that. It's about not giving up. And you know about that, Father.
We have Warlegan's bailiffs back again, Jeremy. Trying to start this again. They had the warrants.
What happened?
We had some help. Hired from hell.
I'm always to be found where trouble is, Master Poldark.
That is undoubted. Your Legwin, I see, do not preclude your ability to master the loggers single-handed.
My Legwin gave us space, Jeremy. He could have got me, but it seems the best way of saving the boat.
Which is now where?
Sold in Bristol. I've got your share for you.
Keep it.
Jeremy, I'll be straight with you. I thought to sell the cargo, keep the money, and make a life for me somewhere. I didn't want to come back here.
So why did you?
Damned if I know. Jeremy, you've been good to me. You and your family. Well, that's not something I've had much of before.
It's rare enough, Stephen.
I heard some good news, Jeremy, about Clarence. She's been wooed by a lord now. Always said she'd be a lady. Fine houses and carriages.
I understand he's a fine young man.
I'm sure he is, Jeremy.
Good and dry, Jeremy. We'll torch the clouds, eh?
dare the Trevanians speak so to Jeremy? They do nothing for the land, nothing for the country.
I'm glad we have more principle, Russ. With Clarence. She may choose whom she marries.
She seems quite taken with Lord Edward.
For anything more, we can't force her.
She would do well to consider it.
Doing well isn't what matters.
She must be sensible, Demelza, as we must be. If she marries some boy from the village, however charming, she can't look to us. I fear we can't offer her much now.
She asks only for love.
Is that enough?
I remember one for whom it was. Jeremy dreams of real leisure, of returning it to us.
Warlegan wouldn't sell to me. There's a meeting at the bank in a day or so. It is suggested we speak frankly of George. He's in difficulties now. If we suggested his bank was unsound, it would collapse.
Ross. Do you hate him so much?
I have good reason to.
And this would be the end of it?
There are many who'd thank us.
Ross, you're not hateful. And it wouldn't end anything. He'd wait. He'd wait to ruin you. He'd beg and scheme behind us all the time, waiting for his chance. And then he'll hurt you, and you'll hate him a little more. And on it goes. We could be free of it.
Perhaps.
No, speak to him. If you persuaded the bank to endorse his position, he might sell Will Leisure to us in return. What choice would he have?
The price of these advances can be high.
Aye. I lost one of my own sons, Captain, as you know.
I think the dangers have passed. And once the real power of the engines is harnessed, they'll change everything. Not just in mining or industry. Work on locomotive transport machines could revolutionize the country.
It is in the nature of this country that revolutions are more spoken of than happen.
Hear what Mr. Harvey has to say.
Don't listen to me, Captain. There's your engineer.
Could you make an engine, Jeremy?
I could design it. We could check it with engineers. I could build it. If we had a mind.
But I should wish to explain, Lady Harriet, the circumstances by which I was forced to leave you so abruptly.
Indeed. Were you forced to do so?
Lady Harriet, I made such a fool of myself for one reason only. To improve myself, that I might be more worthy of your hand. My wealth is restored, somewhat. I've spoken with your brother again, who has examined such resources as I possess.
You know, I find nothing so tedious as matters of commerce.
I do not speak of commerce now, Lady Harriet.
I think you do. And I think it insulting.
Insulting?
That you should be haggling a price over me. That you should think you can buy me like a horse.
Miss Poldark!
Lord Edward! What brings you here? I really didn't expect...
I hope you don't think me impertinent, Clarence. I saw you on the road, and
I'm delighted.
Then you know what brings me here. I wrote to say that I expected to visit.
Yes, we received that. If I'd have expected you today, Lord Edward, I'm sure I wouldn't have...
Clarence, do call me Edward. I think the protocols of court are belittled somewhat by the surroundings. And it's apt to see you here, in the place you love. You spoke of it. You remember?
Yes, I do.
I can remember every word we spoke. And I've spent every moment since doing little but remember.
It's a little cold for swimming now.
But we should do homage somehow. They dressed me as the visiting gentleman.
How is it?
Marvelous. And very wet.
Do they want you? Why are they watching?
It's what they do. But it is a little cold.
Would you go further?
I shall learn to. Now this is something I've always wanted to do. Perhaps it takes a little practice.
Hola. Sir George. I take it you've come to gloat.
I cannot help it a little.
Indulge yourself, Captain. It may be your last luxury. I see now, Captain, your intent. Your bank has a covetable commodity, has it not? The reputation of mine to ruin or elevate as it wishes.
We are considering the question.
Yes, sure you are. And did you hope I should beg? I'll see you ruined, Poldark. What do you want, Poldark?
I am possessed of a little sentiment. My family prevails upon me to make an offer on real leisure.
Sentiment?
For what used to be a Poldark mine. For the villagers you threw off it for no better reason than your own petty profit. Closing a good mine to keep the price up? Sentiments for those that starve. For you and a hole in the ground.
A hole into which you might fall, Poldark.
In return, my bank will provide the references your own enterprise requires to maintain the confidence of solvency.
I would see you in hell.
In time, you will.
Poldark! What price?
£150.
He'll be in hell for you, George. Keeping it warm, he'll be.
And furthermore, you shall desist from your eviction of the villagers, and their rents, which are little enough to you, shall be deferred.
The last time, Captain Poldark. We will do business.
Lord Jesus Christ, O Lord Jesus Christ, the true light, who doth enlighten every man that cometh into this world, do thou bless this bonfire, which we gladly give to thee.
Yes, Mrs. Poldark, we'd be grateful of it.
You must, ma'am.
Upma en eden bagos kelbes. Bledjo the vos leskes. Kevries gwadden aglein. Milbleg en hes de grunspringia. Winus droga gwedra. Leves ente.
You're looking very fine this evening, Miss Clarence.
I feel fine, Ben.
Would you consider taking a walk with me?
I'd be delighted.
My lady, would you consider allowing me to accompany you for this evening?
You're not the first to ask, Ross Poldark, but you're the first I'll answer.
And how do you answer?
I think it is. It is perfect, Miss Clarence.
You think it is, Ben?
Wish to rest, Clarence?
I wish to dance, Ben. Fair lady you have there.
Fair as day, Miss Poldark. It's a fine man you are. Glad you're keeping in with peasants.
You not in the churchyard at night, Stephen? Have you?
Being a religious man, reckon I ought. It's a bit late for that now, isn't it? Excuse me.
What do you want?
Nothing. I'm taking the air.
Left your little village girl, did you?
Came after her, Clowens. Of course. You got Ben Carter now. And the Lord tomorrow, is it? You get tired of him, I'll give you some names.
You've had your word. Get out of here! You don't belong here.
I'll get out. A few more flowers to pick in the village first.
We should have let you drown.
Yeah. I could have done better in hell.